So what has life been like for me for the past few years? That is a great question. We left California. It was time to move on from California. We love our community there, but the fires and a few other issues with, you know, doctors and things in California were getting a little tricky, and so we decided we were going to travel around the world for a year before we moved to Colorado. And we left California on February 14th of 2020. We had an entire year planned, a year and a half, kind of planned really. And we were going to countries that had different traditional medicine, healing, um, you know, different ways of doing things than we have here, because I wanted to learn about different indigenous traditional healing practices around the world. And so we had, planned to go and study Ayurvedic medicine in Sri Lanka and yoga in India and Aboriginal medicine in Australia in the outback and lots of other. And in South America, we were going to spend 6 to 8 months, we were going to travel around and do some spiritual medicine and some psychedelic medicine and traditional medicines throughout South America. But as you know, that didn't work out quite as we had planned. We got to Fiji. We had a beautiful 3 weeks, learned about some great herbal medicine, and they do a lot of local, they are not big on the medical system, and it's hard to get to a medical system for most places in Fiji. So that was a really great experience, and we had so much fun. And then we went to New Zealand, and about 5 days after we got there, the country locked down. And then we stayed for almost 2 years from our 6-week plan in New Zealand. So things went a little bit different, but it was still amazing to be in New Zealand for 2 years. The borders were closed and no one could come visit. We couldn't really leave and come back. And so my husband got a job, and I looked into becoming a doctor in New Zealand, but you have to work in a clinic and for a number of years, and they have very little integrative medicine, and they need it and they want it. And I wasn't going to be able to do integrative medicine for at least 3 years I had to be a primary general physician for a few years first before I could work for myself. And they don't recognize integrative medicine, so they didn't recognize my board training. They didn't recognize, any of the stuff that I had done. And so my husband ended up getting the job, which was great. So we got visas and we could stay, and the kids were in school at a Waldorf school, and it was lovely. And we met amazing people, and we would have stayed forever and ever, but we had to figure out, family. Our family's all here in America. We missed them very much. And I also really still have had a calling to be involved in psychedelic medicine. I had trained to work with ketamine before we left, and been learning and researching psychedelic medicine for years. It's been kind of a interest of mine since I was young. And so we're back here so that this can be something that I can be a part of. The research is just amazing, and I know it's going to help so many people. So we're back in the States. We left New Zealand in January of 22 and of this year, yeah. And we did get 6-7 months of really good travel in. We went to Turkey and Egypt, and we went places that were easy to travel during COVID, where they weren't going to stick my kids up, with PCR testing everywhere we went. So we chose different countries, but that didn't have as much of the indigenous healing. But we really had a rich experience. Turkey, Egypt, went to Jordan, which was amazing. Portugal, we went, spent some time there, and then we went to Costa Rica, Nicaragua. And so that was our little bit of travel to make up for the time that we missed. Now we're back in America, and really happy to be here and starting things over, it feels like. So that's where we are today.